Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, reporters Tad Stefanik and Robert Paris, Peter Brown with the weather, Gretchen Carey with community calendar, and Anthony Matos with sports. Thank you for joining us. Comments made by some of the members of the Select Board in response to a presentation given by the town's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee chair caused backlash both in public comments and online in the days since Monday night's meeting. The presentation was delivered by Dr. Barbara Jean Addison Reed, chair of the committee, who has 45 years of experience working in human resources and DEI at universities. It's a 14-page document with various suggestions for the board and other players in town to act upon, including gathering data on demographics in town, creating diversity scorecards for town employees, have employees perform self-evaluation in terms of DEI, and have department heads perform employee evaluations on similar metrics, among other information. Members of the board did not have any issues with the goal of the committee or the report, but a few did have issues with how it was presented. Member Bob Hogan, who was particularly forceful in this regard, said the report was less of a framework of how to move forward and more of an academic paper. Here he is.
Quite frankly, I think there's a lot easier way of saying some of the things you've said here and make it easier. I looked up a few words that you used. Now, I'm a smart guy. I've got a bachelor's degree. But I looked the words up, and it didn't make sense in some of them, like enclosure. I looked at the definitions, and I didn't know how to plug it back in to all of the stuff that you've given us. I think we need to get back to English, just using basic English, and not try to impress everybody with how smart we all are.
Other members of the board expressed similar concerns about the depth of the report and the wide range of suggestions contained within it. Member Mike Runyon pointed to the proposal of having town employees do self-assessments and said that would be something that would be part of contract negotiations, which are up this summer. In a comment that would also be later questioned, Member Joe Morandi asked what is wrong with the way things currently are in town and posited that everyone should just treat each other with respect. Perhaps the biggest catalyst of the controversy came from the following exchange between Dr. Reed and Mr. Hogan.
I could ask one question, and that is, for the Select Board, why did you create the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee?
That's not the right question. That's almost insulting.
But if he's saying
Barbara, that's almost insulting, because we want to get to the crux of whatever problem may exist. What you came to us with is an academic thesis that none of us, well, not all of us, a lot of us want to work with, but it's just too much stuff. You need to tune this down if you want it to go successfully through the town, the community side, the business side. There's just a lot of stuff you expect people to just drop everything they're doing to try to wrap their hands around.
The meeting soon moved on with assurances from Chair Jim Tiggis that the board was interested in the subject and that everyone was interested in moving in the same direction of diversity, equity, and inclusion. However, there were comments at the end of the meeting from people who felt the conversation did not advance the cause or was conducted with a level of respect they felt appropriate. Here is town meeting member and 2021 Select Board candidate Sherry Ellis.
I can't be silent either. What I heard tonight, I was in the room earlier and I had left, and I came home and I sat down and turned back on the TV, and I was horrified, embarrassed. This board represents this town, and for this board to sit here and say that this town is fine, what's wrong with it, when this woman who's been charged, when BJ and her fellow committee members, including Member Priest, have put together a lot of information. Maybe it's too much information for you folks to digest at once, but you could say that in a better tone. I agree with Mrs. Pristacci that the tone of this meeting, I hope you will go back and watch, was embarrassing to me as a resident of this town. And I really hope that all of you consider that and in your future actions. I can't even believe what I just heard.
Select Board member Hogan spoke with BNews in the days after the meeting and said he feels regret about how the conversation proceeded and his part in it. However, he confirmed his belief that the report was not the action-oriented plan that he was hoping to see. The presentation of the report was an update, and there was no vote taken to adopt it, nor was there the expectation for any vote to be taken. The issue will be part of future meetings. To find additional comments, as well as a link to the report, check out our website at bcattv.org/bnews. On Monday, February 28th, the school mask mandate was lifted by the state. BNEWS Director Rich Hosford went to see how this incremental move to a return to normalcy was going at Burlington's Pine Glen Elementary School and has this report.
As of this past Monday, students, teachers, and other school employees have the option of ditching their face masks during the school day after changes in regulations from the CDC and the Massachusetts Department of Health. I went to Pine Glen Elementary School to see how the first week of optional masking was going and started by asking what challenges the mask posed in the first place that are now alleviated for those who choose to go without.
From a first grade teacher perspective, it was really hard to hear them when they were participating in class, trying to read aloud to me. We do a lot of phonics skills, and it was just hard to see their mouths, and especially my soft-spoken kiddos, it was hard to hear them in general.
For us especially, the challenges had to do with singing and being able to play instruments, certain types of wind instruments and things while masked. It was really, really difficult. Singing in masks is also really difficult. Every time you breathe, you kind of suck in the mask with you, and so that makes it really difficult as well. So transitioning to no mask certainly makes a lot of music making a lot simpler, a lot more user-friendly, especially for young children who are still learning good skills.
Wearing a mask is an option for everyone, and the school is putting an emphasis on ensuring everyone respects the decisions others make. A task made easy, they say, because that was the nature of the school's environment already.
I have a pretty amazing class this year. They've been really respectful of both decisions, whether kids are masking or unmasking.
We just have a great community here at Pine Glen, and whether students are in masks or not in masks, we just clearly make it about the joy of learning and having fun and engaging instruction. And I'm just so happy and proud of our students and how they've been respectful of one another, whether they've chosen to wear a mask or not wear a mask. We make a point of that every day at Pine Glen, to respect our differences and to celebrate our strengths and be a real community and care about one another. So it wasn't that much of a stretch, and I think that's why it was a pretty seamless transition.
Whether they wear a mask or not, the teachers said that they've noticed students' reaction to the incremental change back to normalcy.
Yes, definitely. I have noticed a change. The kids are definitely happy. They're always smiling. They were happy to be there, but it was like a sense of just a sense of normalcy. They were excited to be there without a mask. And since I see every kid in the building, a lot of them I haven't ever seen without a mask. So they would come in the room and it's like, oh, it's like meeting them for the first time again. And they would look at me and go, I don't think I ever saw you without a mask either. And it's like, no. So it's almost in a way like starting that relationship over and taking it in a new direction, because we're all kind of back to normal.
We've seen both. Some kids are more comfortable wearing them still, some have them off, but I definitely see it. I'm able to understand them a little bit better. I think their friends are able to understand them a little bit better. A couple of them wrote in journals about how excited they were to be able to see their friends' faces, see their friends' smiles, and one of them even said they were finally excited to breathe again. So I think for the most part, they're pretty excited about having the option.
Finally, when the students first came back to class after remote learning, Mr. Lyons told me that he greeted them every morning by smiling with his eyes. I asked if he was happy to go back to the traditional way of doing things.
It is nice to be smile with my mouth again. I think one of the things that has been great is just when students arrive in the morning and I greet them on the bus, to see their smiles every day. But I can also, even when they were wearing masks, I could see them smile with their eyes, which was fantastic. And I'm just more than anything so incredibly proud of not just the students for their resiliency, but also the teachers. Their ability to adapt these past couple of years has just been remarkable.
From Pine Glen Elementary School, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
In related news, after changes in regulations set by the CDC and the Mass Department of Public Health, the Burlington School Department has also dropped the requirement that students must continue to wear masks on school buses. Now, the only time a student must wear masks during the school day is if they visit the nurse's office. We've approved 3 new Victualis licenses to allow new restaurants to open in Burlington during Monday night's meeting. The restaurants in question were Reader's Enterprise Catering, Citra Fresh Cafe, and Jersey Mike's, and all were approved with very little discussion or debate. Reader's Enterprise Catering is looking to open at 800 District Avenue. The catering service currently has locations in Chelsea, Everett, and Billerica, and says of itself that for more than 50 years, Reader's has been serving delicious food made from scratch to social clients, businesses, organizations, and flight professionals from Boston, Cape Cod, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and the islands of Massachusetts. Citra Fresh Cafe is looking to open at 67 South Bedford Street. The restaurant currently has locations in Chestnut Hill, Boston, and Foxborough. According to their website, they were founded in 2011 as a fresh cafe and daily destination for fresh food that shares a direct link to health and wellness. The restaurant serves a variety of breakfast and lunch options with an emphasis on daily soups. They also offer salads, wraps, panini sandwiches, and a variety of hot beverage offerings. Finally, Jersey Mike's Subs will be occupying the site at 50 Summit Drive off of Middlesex Turnpike. The restaurant was first founded in 1956 in Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey, as a single standalone location. The company now has over 2,000 locations in the United States and 3 in Australia and 2 in Canada. The restaurant features a variety of both hot and cold subs with focus on making everything to order and using only fresh ingredients that are locally sourced when possible. There's a new place to get an award-winning sandwich in Burlington. Bennett's Sandwich Shop opened their doors in the Burlington Mall last Monday and are now serving customers. According to their website, Bennett's has been recently featured in Yelp's Top 100 Places to Eat in 2021 and are known for their steak and cheese, fresh Maine lobster rolls, deli sandwiches, and breakfast sandwiches. The restaurant opened its first location in Kennebunk, Maine in 1982 and now has other locations in Boston, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Salem, New Hampshire, and now Burlington. Bennett's is also hiring to fill positions in their new locations here in town. You can find that on their website. Following the travel lull of COVID, the Burlington Community Transportation Program has been picking up speed and proving a success at getting Burlington residents where they've got to go. BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak has this report.
With the last voyage of the Beeline in 2020, armed with a Mass DOT grant, Burlington embarked on a new public transportation endeavor using transportation innovations of Uber and Lyft.
The nice thing about Lyft and Uber is that they're door to door.
You don't have to walk down to the corner and wait for the bus to come by and pick you up, especially in weather like we have this winter. So it's proving to be pretty popular with the seniors.
And it's just steadily increased to the point where right now, this month, we had almost 700 rides that were provided.
One of the big things that the Transportation Committee has been discussing is how there isn't one exact solve for transportation, right? So, the Lyft service is definitely tackling a piece of it.
The contract is with Lyft, and we have another contract with GoGo Grandparent, or I think they're now GoGo Technologies. And they are a concierge service that uses both Lyft and Uber. So people who have a smartphone and they're comfortable with it, we put them on Lyft. And folks who don't have a smartphone, we put them onto GoGo Grandparent. The consumer pays the first $1. We pay up to the next 10, so up to $11. And then anything over 11, so 1101, they're responsible for. For somebody who needs to get to Leahy Clinic, or they want to get to the hairdresser or go grocery shopping, it works fine.
For details and qualifications for the Burlington Transportation Program, contact Marge Yetman at the Burlington Council on Aging.
I wish we could find a solution right now for other demographics in town. There's high school kids, for example, okay? The program is not designed for anybody under 18 years old. I think it's a policy with Uber and Lyft. They don't pick up riders under the age of 18. So there's an area that we need to focus on.
I think that a lot of small micro projects are going to help solve the overall larger transportation problem that we're dealing with.
We've got people coming to Burlington from Cambridge and Boston, for example, these new high-tech companies and biotechs that are moving here. Their employees oftentimes don't have cars to get around in, so we need to address their needs as well. So we've got a lot of work to do in the transportation area.
I think we're looking at some other things we could possibly augment it with. But it's working very well. I mean, there's some issues. You've got surge pricing. You try to go somewhere on a Friday night, and it's going to cost you twice as much, if not more. So there's some issues with that. But overall, the program works really well.
And the Transportation Committee is definitely looking into a large number of other solutions that would work in conjunction with it.
From the Council on Aging and Town Hall, I'm BNews reporter Tad Stefanak.
A longtime and well-known Burlington developer is seeking a permit for a building recently converted from office space to laboratories that would allow tenants in the life sciences industry to use certain materials and chemicals regulated by the town. According to paperwork filed with the planning department, the Victualis company is requesting a special permit to allow for hazardous and toxic materials, chemicals, use, storage, and disposal for life science laboratories at 4 Burlington Woods. Attracting life sciences and medical device companies has been a big push in Burlington in the last few years, as well as throughout the state. In 2019, town meeting approved a change in the zoning bylaw definitions and requirements listed under the maximum floor area ratio to make it easier for life science companies and their laboratories to locate in town and be approved under town guidelines. In the cover letter, the petitioner says these changes have paid off in terms of the property in question. It says following modifications to upgrade the building and the successful efforts by the planning board and town meeting to attract life science companies to Burlington, the premises have been fully leased. An information session on ambulance service and billing in Burlington was held last week at the Burlington Senior Center. BNews Director Rich Hosford was there and files this report.
Last week, the Francis Murray Wing in the Burlington Senior Center saw the gathering of roughly 24 residents, mostly seniors, who were there to have their questions answered on a very complicated subject, ambulance billing. Representatives from the town administration, the fire department, and Armstrong Ambulance Services, the entity that handles billing for the town, were there to try to help people understand the town's ambulance services and what they should expect to see in the mail after calling 911 and why. It was an informational session that came about after a concerned citizen saw that his bill and his neighbor's bill were vastly different for similar services.
So this came about, we had a concerned citizen come to see us at the Selectmen back in November, and he brought up some issues that he was having with his ambulance bill and a discrepancy between bills. And he had some concerns about how we contracted the services and just how we recognized the revenue. So we did a short presentation at a select board meeting, and as we talked about it further and further, we said if one person has these questions, maybe there's more that do. So we thought we would have an info session where we would bring in the fire department and the ambulance billing service and sort of go over what to expect when you call 911. And that was our main concern, make sure people understand, make sure they know 3 things. If you have a question on your bill, call Armstrong. If you have a question paying your bill, call the fire department. And if you need service, call 911. Don't let paying your bill stop you from calling 911.
We just thought it was in our best interest to go out and meet with the seniors and discuss some of these topics.
Today's presentation was all about education, to understand that the ambulance transport is a healthcare-related service, and at the end of the day, to understand what their insurance covers, to understand their benefits, so they can be aware of if they're going to obtain bills, and also just again to educate the public that the best thing to do is to call us if you have questions, because at the end of the day, town of Burlington, they're not looking to put out anyone; they're looking to help.
Chief Patterson also talked about the level of ambulance services offered here in Burlington.
We have a top-notch ambulance service in Burlington. We operate at the advanced life support level, which means you're going to get the best care that's available within 4 to 5 minutes anywhere in the town of Burlington. It's a great service. We've been at this at the ALS level for just about 2 years now. Programs have been very successful. We're continuing to build on our success to make our program better.
Finally, Chief Patterson reiterated that if there is an emergency, residents should take advantage of the services provided in Burlington.
Dial 911, report your emergency. Don't worry about billing. That should be the last thing that's on your mind. You, the person, the resident, should be the priority. And when you dial 911, we're going to respond. Whether you have insurance or no insurance or whatever coverage you have, we're going to respond and we're going to provide the highest level care to that person. And we're going to transport them to the most appropriate facility. So ambulance billing should be not a concern. The priority is on the health and safety of the person.
From the Senior Center, I'm BNews Director Rich Halsford.
Representatives from the Mama Bear Effect were before the Select Board requesting permission to use the town common as part of a fundraising event on Sunday, April 3rd to observe Child Abuse Prevention Month. The Mama Bear Effect is a Burlington-based nonprofit dedicated to providing educational resources to help families and communities to raise awareness and protect children from the threat of sexual abuse and change the culture of sexual abuse from a mindset of silence and shame to courage and compassion. Representatives of the organization said they were seeking the use of the town common for an awareness walk. They explained they've already arranged to use the Grandview Farm venue for indoor activities, and we're asking the board to be able to set up an awareness walk along the pathway of the town common. This will include lawn signs with educational messages for parents and caregivers. Additionally, coordinators told BNews that the big event will begin with the ringing of the bells proclamation at 12:30 p.m. to recognize the importance of raising awareness of sexual child abuse. There will be keynote speakers followed by the awareness walk through the town common. The Grandview Farm will feature refreshments, entertainment, and games. The Select Board expressed their support for the cause of the Mama Bear Effect and the event and voted in favor of allowing the use of the common. Peter Brown is out this week, but have no fear. Our own John Vias is ready to fill in with this week's weather report. We'll also check out the community calendar with Gretchen Carey to see what's happening in Burlington.
Hello and welcome to your BNEWS Weekly weather report. John Vias here, filling in for Peter Brown, who is away this week. Let's take a look at that 7-day forecast, shall we? We start our cycle on Friday with sunny skies and a high near 31 degrees, with an overnight low down around 18. The weekend will start a bit warmer and will continue to trend in that direction. On Saturday, we can expect partly sunny skies with a high near 40 and an overnight low only around 32 degrees. Sunday will be even warmer with a high near 63, but there is a chance of rain, mainly before 1 p.m. Sunday night will stay above freezing with a temperature around 47. As we enter the work week, we'll start off with rain on Monday with a temperature around 55 degrees. The rain will continue into the night and the temperatures will drop to around 36. On Tuesday, the sun will partly come out, but temperatures will drop to 43 during the day and back down below freezing to 28 at night. Wednesday will be a bit warmer with a high of 47 under sunny skies and an overnight low of 29 degrees. And finally, we'll wrap up our cycle on Thursday with another chance of rain, but otherwise mostly sunny skies and a high near 48 degrees. And that's it for your weekly weather report. This is John Vias, saying as Peter Brown always does, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your community calendar. On March 10th, from 4 to 6 p.m., Burlington Public Library will be having Leprechaun Storytime. Best for ages 3 to 10. Pre-registration is required. To register, go to burlingtonpubliclibrary.org. On March 11th, at 6 p.m., the Made in Burlington store will be having an event called Lucky Ladies Paint Night Out. Pre-registration is required. To register, go to made-burlingtonsquare.site. On March 30th at 5:30, the Burlington Volunteer Reserve Corps will be having a community preparedness presentation. For more information and to RSVP, call 781-270-1955.
The regular winter sports season has drawn to a close, and some Red Devil teams are battling it out in the playoffs. For all the latest action, we go now to BNews sports reporter Anthony Matos for this week's sports report.
Hey everyone, I'm Anthony Matos, and this is your weekly sports report. The postseason is here and we are looking forward to seeing how everyone will do and have done in the past week. Girls ice hockey will go to Gallo Arena on Sunday, March 5th at 3 p.m. to face the Sandwich Blue Knights in the MIAA playoffs. As this taping, the game is still to be played. We will have updates in next week's sports report. After 35 years as head coach, Bob Seachin decided to step down from his position. For more, we go to BNEWS sports reporter Robert Paris.
Hey everyone, I'm BNEWS sports reporter Robert Paris, and today we're at the Burlington Ice Palace. We're going to have a conversation with former head coach Bob Seachin about his legacy here, and after 35 seasons of being the head coach, we're going to find out what he's going to miss from it. It was a very emotional evening on the night of February 23rd for Bob Seachin as he saw the ice one final time as the head coach. Many people know him as Coach C, and he has been with Burlington Athletics since his start in the 1986 season.
Goes way back. I was a hockey coach at Malden Catholic for 3 years, and then when I got my teaching job in Burlington, I became an assistant with Mr. Cahoon for maybe 3 or 4 years. Then he retired, and that's when I got the job. I was a teacher at the high school, and I was hired in '86, '87 for my first year.
Over the years, Seachin had a number of accolades. Just to name a few, 472 career wins, 13 Kahoot tournament wins, 1 Super 8 finalist, and 2 Division I state titles.
Well, I think the accomplishments are just a matter of having the opportunity to coach really good hockey players in a town that's very, very passionate about their hockey. So I was really lucky with the players I've had over the years. The accomplishments are great, and I'm proud of our successes. But I'm really more proud of the relationships and the connections that are made in this locker room, and how our players go on to be good citizens and good supporters of both athletics and things that are important in life. They're good fathers now, they're good employees, they're alumni that really support our program, keep in touch with us. I'm really proud of that, and I'm proud of the fact that they feel that being a part of this team was one thing that helped them get to where they are.
There has been a wide variety of arena and rinks Coach C has been to with his team over the years, but he'll always consider the Ice Palace as his favorite.
We played at BC, at BU, we played at Merrimack, we played at a lot of the good college venues. I liked when that happened during the state tournament. My favorite place to play is right here, our fan base at the Ice Palace, and this is a great place to watch a high school game. It always seems like it's packed. It always seems like it's noisy. I love playing here. And of course, the big venues that we've been to, the old Garden, the TD Bank Garden now, TD Garden now, and also the year that we played at Fenway Park. Those were special moments for our teams. But I basically think when I came here, was the year that we moved our whole program to the Ice Palace. Before it was at the Bill Rucker Forum. For all 35 years I've been coaching, our home games have been right here. And this is a special place for high school hockey.
Seachin knew it was the right time to move on in the next chapter of his life.
That was a tough week, in that I talked to the kids at practice on Sunday, and it was kind of a surprise to them. But it was something that I wanted to do it the way I wanted to do it. Mr. Hart let me do it the way I wanted to retire, and I wanted to do it that way. I didn't want it to prolong it. I had the decision made, so I didn't feel there was any reason not to share it. But emotionally, I didn't think it was going to bother me, but it did. It was talking to the kids for the last time in here, before the game, after the game, was tough. It's a lonely feeling and a sad feeling, but there's going to be sad feelings going through this whole process. But I know it's the right thing to do. I know in my heart of hearts, but I'm not saying there's not going to be some emotional moments in moments of sadness. And some of them came last week, in our last week of the season.
His legacy will live on at the Ice Palace.
I learned a couple of things. That family is the most important thing. I always knew that, but my family has been so supportive of me. All my children, my grandchildren this year. When I looked out for the first game this year, my 4 grandchildren were here. I mean, that was a special moment. Family is the most important thing. And that's what I tried to do in here. We became a family in here, a second family for a lot of these kids. And I think that's my final thought, is that I've been very happy. I'm very lucky, very fortunate that I have a wonderful family myself. And I tried to develop that family, that love of family, the love of each other in the relationships that we built in this room. that family is the most important thing.
I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Sports.
We wish you nothing but the best in your retirement, Coach C. Girls track attended the 36th annual MIA All-State Championship meet on February 26th. Seniors Brooke Bibbo, Elizabeth Breeby, Caitlin Carney, Jessica Joseph, Jolene Russo, Junior Grace Hannafin, sophomores Char Collins, Hope Hannafin, Cora Laverty, and freshman Athena Wolinski attended the meet. One of the biggest takeaways from the meet is senior Jolene Russo, junior Grace Hannafin, senior Liz Breeby, and sophomore Char Collins made history during the 4x200 relay when they broke a school record, finishing with a time of 1 minute 47 seconds and 18 milliseconds. In addition, these athletes have qualified for New England's, which will be held on Saturday, March 5th. You can read the rest of the results at bcattv.org/sports. Girls basketball went into the preliminary round of the MIA playoffs on March 1st, where they traveled to Dartmouth High School to face the Indians. Burlington's season came to a close after falling to their opponent 38-57. Graduated seniors from the season are Lily Sturdivant, Sarah Quinlan, and Michaela Giordano. Boys basketball will be hosting the Charlestown Townies in the MIA Division II playoffs on March 4th. You can catch the action live on our BCAT TV Facebook page at 6:30. Girls gymnastics went to the MIA sectionals at Algonquin High School on February 26th. Burlington faced 12 other teams, but in the end they came in 4th place with a total of 142.7. On another note, Ava Shank Davis and Sam Wynn have earned a spot in the MIA State Tournament on March 5th at Algonquin Regional High School at 2 p.m. As of this taping, the meet is still underway. You can read all the results from the MIA sectionals at bcattv.org/sports. Red Devil wrestlers Molly Maroney, Rona Noak, and Tim Vadney competed in the All-States meet on February 26th. First-year wrestler Maroney did not prevail in the matches as she lost them both. Maroney told BNews Sports earlier in the season that she is looking forward to coming back next year as a senior. Senior Ronan Noak won 4 out of his 6 matches on that day and finished in 4th place. Tim Vadney won 3 out of his 6 matches and finished in 6th place. Both gentlemen will be representing Burlington and Providence next week. To check out what lies ahead for the spring sports, go to arbitrlive.com where you will find the Burlington Red Devils schedules. You can also check out the MIA website for the tournament information and go to bcattv.org/sports to the BNews Sports section on our Twitter page at BNews Sports. That's all for Weekly Sports Report. I'm Anthony Matos, back to you guys in the studio.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo shows that anything can be presented in an artistic way if the photographer has the right skills. It was sent in by young Burlington resident Gwen McNamee and features a lime she is holding that was taken at a photography club. The high-quality photo represents the lime in a unique and eye-popping way. Thank you for the photo, Gwen. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of your winter activities, a family trip, or anything you're interested in. Whatever you think is interesting and want to share with us and the community. You can email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Finally, this week, don't forget to stick around after the news for this week's Burlington Public Schools update with Superintendent Eric Conti for the latest education news. And that's it from the news desk here at BNews Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with Rich Hosford, Tad Stefanak, John Vias, Gretchen Carey, Robert Paris, Anthony Matos, and Peter Brown. Thank you for joining us.